Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Ronsley, and I'm so excited to have you here because today we're going to break down ChatGPT's code interpreter. Now, ChatGPT's code interpreter is like having a computer built into your interaction with AI. So you can use your interaction with artificial intelligence, with ChatGPT in particular, and you can overlay a computer program on top of that. And you can use that to manipulate the data that you get back from ChatGPT, and you can use it to your advantage. What I mean by that is that you can put in files, you can ask it to distribute files, you can ask it to re-engineer certain files from video to images, from images to GIFs, from GIFs to size requirements, from putting in PDFs, from putting in show notes. It's going to be really powerful. And this episode is really powerful for every business owner that has data that they want to interpret using ChatGPT. Come on, let's learn.
Hey, it's Ronsley. Welcome, you AI geek, to this podcast, My AI Love Affair. Consider this podcast your digital compass, guiding you through the labyrinth that is business growth using artificial intelligence. Running a business as a creative can sometimes be like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. But what if you had a secret tool that could align all the colors for you? That is AI. It's like a master key unlocking multiple doors. Thanks for being here. Let's learn.
At the start of this episode, I mentioned how powerful Code Interpreter is, but I don't think I am actually laying down how important Code Interpreter actually is. It is by far one of the most, and I hope by the end of this episode, I explain to you why it is so powerful. All right, let's do this. First, let's understand ChatGPT's Code Interpreter. It is a part of ChatGPT's AI system that understands and processes code-related queries. Think of it as a translator who can understand both English and the language of computers. When you ask it a question about code, it translates your English question into a form that a computer can understand, finds the answer, and then translates that back to English and human-like language form for you to interpret as intelligence. In our digital age, understanding how AI systems like ChatGPT's Code Interpreter work is like understanding how to read and write. It is a basic skill in artificial intelligence, and it can help you navigate the world. For small business owners and entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, understanding how this can work will help you automate tasks, create new products, and even understand the technology you use every day better. I'll show you how I use it to do my show notes. And it is really interesting that today, when I'm recording this, which is July 15th, and while I record this, while I'm recording this, I find out that Code Interpreter today has been disabled temporarily for GPT Plus users. To show you what I mean, if I go into ChatGPT and I see Code Interpreter here, it shows me that this little red arrow, this red marking here, which means it's not available, but I'll show you how I used it in previous chats. However, I need you to understand how powerful it is, so when it's back up, you can actually use it. Okay, let's talk about some basic concepts, and three of them in particular. The first one is natural language processing. If you have listened to the previous episodes, you'll hear me talk about NLP and how it's different from neuro-linguistic programming, but this is natural language processing, which is important to understand in the world of computers. ChatGPT's Code Interpreter uses a technique called natural language processing. This is like understanding the grammar and vocabulary of a language. Imagine you're learning a new language. At first, you might only understand a few words, but as you learn more, you start to understand sentences and then paragraphs and then whole conversations. And then you can read, write, and interpret, and then you can move the actual language forward. There's all these different layers to understanding language. NLP, or natural language processing, is similar for computers. They are still learning how to process our natural language. That's concept number one. Concept number two is machine learning. Machine learning is another technique used by ChatGPT's code interpreter. It is like teaching a dog new tricks. You show it what to do and it learns from you showing it what to do. Imagine teaching a child to recognize animals. You show them pictures of dogs and they say dog. After seeing enough pictures, the child can recognize dogs they've seen. The child can recognize dogs they've never seen before. That's what machine learning does, but with data and patterns. That's why in previous episodes, I mentioned how this is different from search and information. This is intelligence. This is machine learning. Principle number 3 is code interpretation. It is a process of understanding and executing computer code. It's like reading a recipe and then cooking the meal. Imagine you're a chef reading a recipe and you want to understand the instructions before you start making the dish. That is code interpretation. Once you understand the instructions, you can then go and cook the meal, which is executing the code. So code interpretation followed by executing the interpretation of the code. So those are 3 basic concepts that I want to layer for you, followed by 3 components that I think is really important. The first component is input. The input is the question or command you give to ChatGPT's code interpreter. It's like asking a question in a conversation. Imagine you're asking a friend for directions. Your question is the actual input. And understanding what input is fundamental to computer science. Number 2, what do you do with that input? So component number 2 is processing. So processing is when ChatGPT's code interpreter understands and thinks about your input. It's like the thinking you do after you hear a question. Imagine you are asked a difficult question, you think about it, you consider different options, different answers, different scenarios, and then you respond. That is what processing is like. And the final component is output. And these 3 components are basic to computer science: input, processing, output. Input, processing, output. It works all the time. And these 3 principles and components are super important for anything that you're doing with ChatGPT prompting especially. So the output is the answer to the result. So the output is the answer or the result that ChatGPT's code interpreter gives you. It's like the answer to a question in a conversation. Imagine you asking a friend a question and then they give you the answer. Their answer is the output. And here is what's really cool. Every output you get from ChatGPT can be used as an input to your next prompt. That in computer science is called recursion. And if you understand recursion, you can layer your prompts and outputs to get better and better with every conversation you have with artificial intelligence. Let's talk about some applications when it comes to code interpreter. Application number 1, automating tasks. So ChatGPT's code interpreter can help you automate tasks by understanding and executing code. So it actually does some really interesting things with code interpreter. It writes its own code in the background in Python. And if you use code interpreter, you can see it working in the background. If you understand Python, you can understand what it's doing and how it's writing that code in real time from the input that you give it. It's like having a personal assistant who can understand both English and computer code. Imagine you're a photographer who wants to edit hundreds of photographs. You could use ChatGPT's code interpreter to automate the whole editing process. That is how powerful it is. You can ask code interpreter to make it certain sizes. You can ask it to upscale it. You can ask to make a GIF out of a series of photographs. It's very, very powerful, and I know you're going to find a lot of value from using it. Application number 2, you can create new tools. So ChatGPT's code interpreter can help you create new tools by understanding and executing code. It's like having a master craftsman who can help you build anything you can imagine. Imagine you're a musician who wants to create a new kind of musical instrument. You could use ChatGPT's code interpreter to help you design it and then build it. Application number 3, understanding technology. Now, in the world we're living in today, technology is developing at a rate that we have never seen before. So to understand it for someone who is not technical, ChatGPT's code interpreter can help you do that. It works. It is like learning how to read and write in the language of the digital age. If you're a business owner, understanding ChatGPT's code interpreter, it could help you make more informed decisions about the technology your business uses today. And it also help you make more informed decisions about the data that you already have. So you can input some of that data back in code interpreter for ChatGPT, and it'll make sense of this data from your balance sheets to your profit and loss statements to your email deliverability. If this is the first time you're listening to one of our tech stacks, we do this every Friday where I break down a certain topic that is really fundamental to artificial intelligence using my background in computer science and my master's of software engineering. These concepts are really important for you, the business owner, to understand how these all play out. If you want previous episodes of this podcast, go to myailoveaffair.com. You will find us on all major streaming platforms. And if you want more training, more information and prompts, and a whole bunch of AI geeks that join us, go to aigeeks.co/Discord to join our Discord community. Until next time, love what you do what you love.
Hey, AI Geek, thanks for listening. Your job doesn't stop here. I want you to lend your voice to the conversation. So you can join those conversations, discussions, new trainings, new recordings, and the rest of the AI Geeks by going to aigeeks.co/Discord. Also, share this podcast with a friend, another potential AI geek. Until then, much love.